Okay, time for the canning process, or preparing for canning. I'm going to be taking these tomatoes, which is around 300, all sorted sizes, 6 different varieties, and I'll be processing them, and I'll be showing you more of the procedure as I go along. Hopefully I don't bore you people too much. Okay, here we have the tomatoes in boiling water. That'll help the skins come loose from the flesh, and then we'll put them in cold water, let them sit in there for another few minutes, and the skins will come right off. I've taken these tomatoes out of the boiling hot water and put them into ice water, so that way the skins will crack and peel off and come out really easy. Next step, I'll be coring and cutting them up into smaller pieces. Okay, here we have the tomatoes took out of the cold ice water, and you can see that the skins are all peeling, so they should come off fairly easily. Okay, so here I'm peeling. You can see the peels come off fairly easily. Then I'll just take my trusty knife here, core it, put it aside, and take the next one and peel it. Fairly straightforward, you know, it's not rocket science. You peel and you core. And after I'm done peeling, for sake of time, I'll just take and water them, and those will go into the stew pot. We have all the other ingredients added at a later time, so it'll give you an idea of the process, but really not all that hard. It's more time consuming than anything, because you're, you know, cutting. And like when you have two people, like when Megan was here a couple years ago, she was peeling while I was coring and slicing them, and that helped out a lot. I didn't have to stop to take the time to peel them. But as we all know, Megan's in Florida, so she's not here to help me this year. I have approximately 300 of these to do. So, needless to say, I'm going to be a busy boy for a good part of the day. So, hope you enjoy my little video on canning tomatoes. I'll be back with other processes, but I'm not going to bore you with this whole thing for the next, we'll have to watch on, but several hours. But anyways, it's hot out, it's in the 90s, it's too hot for me to do anything outside, it's humid, so it's a perfect day for me to sit in here, well, not sit, but be in here with the air conditioning and the fans going and get some work done and have some food ready for winter when the snow is flying and we got 3 feet of snow out there and I don't want to go out to the store. So anyways, I'll be back later. Have fun, my friends. Bye. Doesn't this look like fun? All I can say is the best part is eating them. So if you think our ancestors had it easy when they had to grow all their own food, process all their own food, they didn't have the modern conveniences like we have today, so it was a constant chore just to provide for the family. Not like nowadays where we just go to the supermarket and buy this stuff. Okay, originally I had planned to make stewed tomatoes with the tomatoes I picked the other day. But I ended up with about 40 quarts. and I checked my inventory of stewed tomatoes and regular tomatoes I already have canned, and I figured out between the two I have like 60 quarts. So that's plenty enough for at least another year. So I decided to try something new this year, something I haven't done before, and make my own tomato sauce. And I'll be adding onions and peppers and spices and stuff to it. It's going to be a little more work, but I figure what the heck, might as well try it. I won't know unless I do. Okay, first step, I got my Roma tomatoes. One of 6 varieties, because I'm going to be doing a blend. The Roma tomatoes I'm going to cook down a little bit, then I'm going to put it through a food mill to get all the seeds and stuff I don't want in the sauce, and to reduce it so I can put it into the oven to bake it, so it'll reduce down the sauce or the pulp to a tomato paste. That way there it's going to retain a lot of the flavor, and also caramelize it while it's in the oven, dehydrating, so to speak, because it'll be in a low temperature. Then I'll set that aside and add to the rest of the sauce that I'm going to boil down on the stove to reduce it. And the final stages, I'll be adding my spices and peppers and onions and garlic, and I'll be combining all of it together, and the tomato paste will enhance the flavor because it'll be caramelized in the oven. Okay, so I finally got the all this stuff done. Here's the 2 pots. And so you got 4, 8, 12, 24, about 24, 25 quarts of stewed tomatoes here, and I'll be canning them. So the rest of my day will be canning, and cleaning, because behind the scenes, you know what cooking does, makes a mess. Nice and thick. I did it a different way this year, so it took me 2 days to complete, because I took the juices from the tomatoes and I boiled it down to a nice paste. So instead of having half water, my sauce is going to be nice and rich for my stewed tomatoes. So see how that goes. Hey Mary, this is for you and anybody else that wants to view through it. Here I have the jars. They've been sterilized. They've been washed and sterilized in the dishwasher. Now they're in the boiling water. Well, I'm heating up the water to get them ready for canning, and I will be taking and filling those jars with this scrumptious stuff, and I'll show you more on that part. Also, you want to get your lids in a separate pan. I don't have the lids in there yet, but I'm getting the water boiling, and you put your lids in there for so they seal better. Okay, I'll show you more in a little while. Okay, bye. So Mary, and anybody else that's watching, and take one of your jars out and disappear. I gotta dump this out. Okay, the jar's been sitting in the hot water, so now it's nice and hot, and you want to take your you want to make sure you use a funnel, because this could get messy. Sometimes I like to hold the jar, but being that it's so hot, it's probably going to drip. But you want to take whatever you're using, whatever you're deciding on canning. You want to fill up the jar, leave about a ½ inch of head space. Then you want to take a knife or anything flat or somewhat flat, and go down the sides, push it in, because you want to remove any air bubbles that may be in there. Okay. Then you'll take a damp paper towel, wipe off the rim, because you don't want any thing sitting on there, because otherwise it won't seal and you'll be doing it for nothing. Then you want to take one of your lids out of the hot pan that I showed you earlier, put it on top, take a ring, make sure the lid is, just tighten it up, and you're done. Then you move on to the next one. Fairly simple. Canning part's the easy part. The hardest part is preparing everything, cooking and cutting, and but once you get it to the stage of canning, it goes pretty easily. So you just want to take your jar, put it back in your canner, then you just grab another jar, got to dump the water, because you have to put water in the jar because there's water in the bath, and like a boat, it'll float, so you have to put water in to compensate for the buoyancy, and then you're ready to go and do your next jar. Same procedure. I'm going a little fast here, so I'm making a mess, but normally I'm a little more cautious. But don't laugh at me. Yeah, I know, I saw you, I heard you. But basically, just fill up the next jar, do the same process. About a ½ inch of head space. Take your spatula. See? And there's probably just a little too much in that jar. So if you find yourself a little over full, just take a spoon, scoop some of it out. Doesn't take much, but if there's too much, when it starts to expand in the bath, when you're pressure canning it, it will expand and it'll blow out the seal part, and it won't seal, and you'll have stuff all over the inside of your canner. Plus you'll have a jar that's not sealed, and either you'll have to use it right away, save it for a couple of days, or recan it. So then you just get yourself another lid, and you want to make sure you try not to touch the rubber part of the bottom of the lid, because you don't want to contaminate it. And there you go, you got another one that's all sealed, ready for the canner. So you put that in, and then you just keep going with all your jars, and when you're done, I'll show you the next process. All the jars are full in the hot water, and next thing is to cover it. Cover it, well, I'll seal that, and then turn the heat up and bring it up to steaming, and I'll explain more when it starts steaming. The heat's been turned up on the canner for a little while now, and the water inside is starting to boil and starting to get steam coming out of the vent. Now you want to make sure you leave that open when you're first heating up the water. Okay, once it starts to boil, starts to steam, you want to set your timer for 10 minutes. You want to let the steam come out for 10 minutes. And once your 10 minutes is up, you're going to close your pressure valve or put the weight on it, whichever your canner has. Okay, so it's been venting for 10 minutes now, and carefully, so you want to burn your hand with the steam, turn off the vent. I don't know what yours has or will have. This is an old canner. I don't know how old it is. I mean, I've had it for 40 years or more, and I don't know how old it was before that, so yours will probably be different, but basically the same. And now let it build up pressure until it gets to 11, then monitor for 20 minutes, and then I'll turn it off. Okay, after your 10 minutes of releasing the steam, you want to shut your ball cock or your vent, or put the weight on depending on your canner, and you want to, for my purpose of what I'm canning, 11 pounds of pressure. You want to get that up to 11 pounds and maintain that pressure for what I'm canning for 20 minutes. You don't want it to fall below 11 pounds. It can go a little above. You don't want it to go too much above. I mean, you don't want to blow your canner up. But you want to maintain at least a minimum 11 pounds for 20 minutes. Okay, so after you maintain your pressure for the desired amount of time for whatever you're producing, it is time to turn it off. You will let it cool down on its own. Do not open the vents. Do not try to remove the cover, because you will blow steam in your face, and you do not want that. So let it cool down, and then we'll take the jars out. Okay, so now that the pressure has reduced, now you want to take your jars out. Be careful not to bang them together. Then you want to set them down on a towel. Don't touch them because they're really hot. You just keep leave space between them. You don't want them touching. You want to let airflow around them. Okay, and you want to do that for every jar. And so, okay, you don't need to watch me do them all. So there you go. Put them down on the towel. Okay, you have to get all your jars out. This is one batch. It's 7 jars. You want to just take and throw a towel over the top of them. You just want to cover them, because you don't want them cooling down too quickly. You want them to cool down slowly, so the seal gets, you get a good seal. And if you hear jars popping, that's what you want to hear, because that's showing the seal. And I'll show you how to check the seal later, because you don't want to touch them while they're hot. You want to let them cool down for, several hours before you even touch the top of their jars. And finally, the results of all that hard work. Got 21 jars of stewed tomatoes. First time doing it this way, I actually reduced the juices from the tomatoes down to almost a paste style. So these jars are a lot thicker than normal. There's a lot less water in them. So very pleased with the results. Even though it took an extra day to do it, because the reducing is kind of tough when you're doing it on the stove. Next batch, I think I'm going to try it letting the juices separate. The solids will fall to the bottom of the pot. Naturally, I'll have to take all the tomatoes and separate them from the water. And then when the solids separate, most of the water will be on top. So I'll siphon it off so there'll be less to process. So hopefully that works better, and just refining my skills. I guess I should have tried this a couple years ago, but trying it now. So anyways, that's it. I'm done. Okay, now I'll demonstrate how to tell if it's sealed or not sealed. I'm going to use an empty jar to show what it would sound like when it's not sealed, because all of my jars are sealed, so obviously I can't demonstrate with that. Okay, one that's sealed, you push down, it's solid. Take one that's not sealed, and you'll hear that. That means it's not sealed. Okay? Sealed, not sealed. This is for you, Mary, because I know you were talking about learning on how to can, so I said I would do a demonstration, and here you go. Alright, later. Enjoy. Bye.